All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday, June 24th. We got a full MLB slate to dive into in today's video, like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'll give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about the other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays so that I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, it's absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. Yesterday, we go 3-3. The bright side is that one of our losses was just a .33 unit play. Everything else was a half unit, but still nothing all that great. The Diamondbacks money line come through for us with ease, and then our two winners, Mariners and Twins and Cubs Cardinals, both the overs in those games, those came through with ease as well. But the Yankees and the Mets, I guess the state of New York, failed me yesterday, and then the Red Sox Angels. We had the first five under 5.5. That wouldn't have hit if we took it in the first inning. That's how bad of a call that was. Speaking of bad calls, this is not a bad one. Mine was a lot worse, but it's more of an unfortunate call. John, who was on a ride of the day streak, we got to drop the womp womp. John, you and me own a womp womp today because I had that bad Red Sox Angels look, and you ended up catching an L with the ride of the day with the Brewers team total over 4.5. Unfortunately, they come through with just 4, so they lose on the hook. They kind of they were stuck at 2, I felt like, for too long, and it wasn't looking good. But still, John came through and got 2 wins for us. Actually, still the leader in the clubhouse in terms of the longest ride of the day streak since we've been tracking. But you can see here, he's atop the list right there. 2-1 over his last 3 days. This was his last run there. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, you're like, what the heck are you doing? You're popping a Google sheet in front of me. Guys, just use that hashtag ride of the day, or ROTD, down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day. I'll respond to you saying, let's ride, right? We ride with you until you lose. Every single day you'll get a shout out in the next video. If you do lose, you'll get the shout out, but the womp womp. It's just a fun way that we can interact with you guys down in the comments. We also update the tracker. There's a link for that down in the pinned comment. So you get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments with your favorite plays of the day. Got to be inside -150 so the community can kind of comfortably ride. But what do you say we go ahead and dive into today's slate? Hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button down below. You've been crushing the like button on these MLB videos, so let's keep that up, right? More likes, more wins. Or is it more chins, more wins? Who knows? Let's jump into game number 1 here. We got Baltimore taking on Texas. I think I have to lean towards Baltimore in this spot. Morton on the mound against Latz. I would say that, Latz's numbers out of the bullpen, he only has 1 start, I believe, this season. Numbers out of the bullpen aren't all that terrible, but Baltimore's offense isn't looking, god-awful like it was a while back. And Charlie Morton's starting to pitch well. We've seen what Baltimore started to do against lefties. They've started to hit them a little bit better. So, yeah, it's going to be Baltimore for me. I don't know if I love the idea of them winning 2 in a row because I do think that them and Texas are on pretty similar playing fields here in terms of talent. And that -130 price tag seems a little bit much. But if this is -120, I'd probably consider it a little bit more. Now, that total's up at 10. That does tell me that Morton might get hit up a little bit. So if you like the Rangers for plus money, that's probably something that's going to tip you off. But to me, I like Baltimore in the under. I don't think both of these offenses show up, day to day. Yesterday, we saw exactly that. It was all Baltimore all the time. Maybe it's all Texas all the time today. Who knows? But I still don't think that both offenses absolutely go off. Baltimore in the under for me, but not my favorite spot. With a full slate, not my favorite spot on the board today. Next up, Detroit is taking on the Athletics here. Almost said Oakland. I did not. I like one play in this one, and I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments of it because it does seem like it could be a good spot. A's under 0.5 runs as a team in the first 3 innings. Paying a little bit of juice at -135, but we do have Tarek Skubal on the mound. Going up against Severino, I almost wanted to look at the first 5 under, but I don't necessarily love Skubal. So I figured, all right, let's just trim all of the fat, right? The reason we're even looking at the first 5 under originally was because we like the idea of Skubal on the mound, right? And we're just kind of hoping that, Severino does his job. But what if we just stripped everything? I don't love the idea of 0.5 through the first 5. That means Skubal has to go out there and definitely be Scooble. But for the first 3 innings, like give him one time through the lineup, no runs, makes a little bit more sense to me. So I'm curious to see what you guys think of that in the comments down below. If you do like that first 5 under, you can get it at -120 for the under 4. But this Detroit team, I do think could jump on Severino realistically. I don't necessarily, I mean, I'm not the biggest Severino guy, so maybe my judgment's a little bit clouded here. But if he's going to go cutter, slider, those are 2 pitches that Detroit's hitting right now. So yeah, it's going to be first 3 under for the team total of the Athletics. That's going to be under 0.5. So pretty much Scooble has to go 3 scoreless innings. Hopefully that is the case. In terms of a side, obviously I think Detroit has the upper hand with Scooble on the mound. They also have the better bullpen. I don't mind them on the run line -1.5, but this A's team just seems a little bit too volatile to be kind of banking on, right? Like, who knows if all of a sudden, yeah, Scooble gives 3 good innings, but then they jump on him somehow. Like, they've been in this sort of drought, decent amount of runs, drought sort of curse for a little while now. They're coming off of 2 straight really bad scoring games. Maybe they put up like 5 today, and then it's going to be tough for Detroit to win by 2. You know what I mean? So it's probably going to be that first 3 play for me and nothing in this one. But I don't mind the idea of Detroit minus the 1.5. Glad we made it through that game. I almost like choked on my own tongue or something. Speaking of choking, guys, if you have not checked out Novig, you are choking. I kind of thought that transition would be a little bit better, but still, go ahead and check it out. That link will be down below in the description, as well as the pinned comment. If you're like, what the heck is Novig? It's going to operate very similar to your normal DK, FD, MGM, all your normal books out there, right? The cool thing about Novig, though, is that it's a sports book exchange, meaning you're going up against peers in a sense, right? They'll set lines, they'll set odds, and you can buy into pieces of those. So it's going to be the same operation. You're going to get -130 for something because someone else took the +130 side of it. They don't have the VIG involved, so you're getting a way better price. Go check it out. Link down in the description as well as the pinned comment. If you see your state highlighted there, wait no longer, don't choke. See, I knew that transition would come around there. The really cool thing is the better prices that you'll get. So yes, it's going to operate the same and all of that, but there are some plays that you're seeing as like -160, which would be outside of a lot of people's price ranges on normal books, right? You're getting those same plays for like -125, -130 over on Novig. So check it out, guys. I've been absolutely loving these exchanges, Novig in particular. I've been using it myself, so you know that I'm not just blowing smoke up your you-know-what. Link down below in the description as well as the pinned comment. Let's jump back into these games. All right, next up we have Cleveland taking on Toronto. Logan Allen against Eric Lauer. I will say Eric Lauer, depending on, how they've started to just transition him into a regular pitcher. He's looked really good, right? This is a Cleveland team that the offense, I still go back and forth on what I want to think of them, but we know one thing's for sure. Right now, or at least in the last 30 days, we could say the offense isn't there, right? They're going to give you 4 runs, maybe maximum. And I believe in their last 9 games, 4 runs has been the maximum they've scored. Flip it over to Toronto, that's just not the case. They're a way better offense right now. Now, are they a little bit hit or miss at times? Sure, but you're looking at Logan Allen against them, who has 51 plate appearances against, a 15.7 K rate, a 13.7 walk rate. That ain't all that great, right? And an average against of 350, a WOB against of 453, an expected slugging 543. So I just can't sit here and think that, the Blue Jays won't go out there and at least get theirs in a sense. So I am going to lean towards Baltimore. Cleveland, though, I will say, I mean, Lauer's been pretty good, but I don't want to sit here and act like there's no chance that Cleveland can put up some runs. So I think I'm going to lean Baltimore on the money line, as well as taking a peek potentially at them at the team total over and the over. Because again, I do think Cleveland may be able to put a couple up, but to me, this is just a Toronto team that just lost the series against the White Sox. And right now, I just consider them a far better team. I know they're only, I think, either 2 or 3 games ahead of Cleveland in terms of, record. But I do think Toronto is a far better team ultimately. And coming off of a losing series, and they've lost a decent amount of games lately, I think this is a good spot. Like starting a road trip, starting fresh, go get to Logan Allen, who is a lefty. This is a Toronto team that's just been hitting lately as well. In terms of, one thing that I like as well, and we're just kind of pulling this out now, Eric Lauer, and you can see on our dashboard. I'll talk more about our dashboard a little later on in the video. And how to get access to it, but throws a lot of fastballs. Look at this, Cleveland dead last in terms of hitting the fastball over the last 30 days in terms of runs above average. Cutter being the next pitch, 21st. So I like the spot here. You have a lot of sliders, a lot of changeups, a lot of sinkers coming in from Logan Allen. Slider, changeup, sinker. The pitch mix kind of checks out as well. So yeah, I think Toronto definitely has a chance of being a final play in this one. And just for an example, we just talked about Novig, right? This is about minus 120 on most books. On Novig right now, minus 113. Now, you might be thinking that's only, 7 cents on the dollar of a difference. That is a massive amount. So just wanted to show that. That's social proof right there. Minus 113 over on Novig, minus 120 or in the minus 120s elsewhere. Cincinnati taking on the Yankees here. Looks like we have Chase Burns on the mound for Cincinnati, who is making his major league debut in the minors. I believe we have that information up. 2 games started this year, .91 whip, an ERA of 2. Okay, so pretty good, right? I don't know too much about him, and like I always tell you guys, I'm not going to be the guy that comes on here and blows smoke up your ass. I feel like I'm saying that a lot lately, but acting like I know who someone is when I really don't. What I will say is this Yankee squad let us down yesterday. I don't know if it's dumb or genius to try and go right back to them. They do have Carlos Rodon on the mound, and I like that matchup, right? You have a young kid pitching against one of the fiercest lineups in baseball. Fiercest. They can't even score lately. But with Rodon on the bump, who has been really good this season, right? So I kind of like the idea of the Yankees if we can get a good price behind them. But I don't know what to make of this young kid. And sometimes a kid coming up that a team's never seen before, that's going to pay, dividends and benefits towards him. But it can also be like, oh, he's not big enough for the moment or whatnot, and it's going to pay some benefits to the offense, right? So you never really know. At this point, it might be like rolling the dice. What I don't necessarily mind the idea of is the Yankees team total over. Even if they had one of their slated starters in there, I'm kind of a believer that this Yankees offense at some point will get it going. Well, today in Great American Ballpark, I think we're going to have like a 90-plus degree weather, wind blown slightly out to the outfield. So maybe the Yankees, this is the day to kind of get their offense going. You'd have to take over 4.5, which they've only hit 2 of their last 10, but that would be something that I'd consider. I just don't know exactly what to get out of this pitcher, so who knows if we're going to race to the window to get it, because it is a question mark, and when there's question marks involved, it might not be the smartest thing, right? Mets taking on the Braves. The Mets had opportunities last night. They ended up losing 3-2. That was one of our money line plays, but it was plus money. They're plus money again today, but Frankie Montas on the bump against Spencer Strider. I would say that there is a pretty big, difference in that one ultimately, right? Like Spencer Strider's one of those guys that I do really, really like. Montas making his debut here. Last time we saw him was with Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Was that last year? I believe it was last year. ERA nearly 5. The whip was actually a little bit better, is like 1.2, which isn't great, but that ERA is a little bit more alarming than that. In terms of his, his stats here in the minor leagues, I believe he's been looking okay. I don't have those numbers, just like the general consensus, right? So to me, in terms of his, his rehab assignments, right? But to me, this is still a spot where Spencer Strider is the game changer in this field, I guess I could say. Now, the Mets just lost yesterday, and it was close. Are their bats going to heat up and get ready today? That could be, because Spencer Strider, we know that obviously he's a very good pitcher, right? But in terms of the pitches that he's going to throw, it's going to be a lot of fastballs and a lot of sliders. The fastball is a pitch that this Mets team hits really, really well. The slider, not so much. So I'm hoping that the Strider slider, that's tough, is going to be good today, because that's what's going to keep this Mets offense kind of at bay. So give me Atlanta, and I don't mind the idea of maybe an Atlanta team total over. I don't necessarily know if we can fully trust this Mets team right now, because again, they're a very good team, but in terms of what they've been doing lately, like listen to this is their last 8 games in terms of runs scored: 0-4, 0-1, 2, 11 out of nowhere, then 1-2. Like, this team is not scoring right now. Yes, they scored 11 3 games ago, but not very consistent. So yeah, I do think that we're going to kind of pocket them for now and back Spencer Strider here. One player prop spot I really don't mind is going to be Jeff McNeil under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. Now, this would probably be something that we put like a half unit on or whatnot, because I like his matchup against Strider because of the history. 17 plate appearances against, he's batting just 188 against him. 3 hits, no RBIs, no runs. Striking out 24% of the time. And he's also batting worse against righties. The thing that keeps it from being a full-blown, like, oh, let's ride with this one, is the fact that he hits the fastball, the slider, which are the 2 main pitches that he'll see, fairly well. So that's kind of like the drawback, you know what I mean? But I still don't mind the under 1.5 to at least get some action on it. All right, Kansas City taking on Tampa Bay. I did go back and forth on this one for a while, and I think I ultimately end on liking the Rays. We have Chris Bubic on the mound going up against Taj Bradley. Who would I say is the better pitcher? Last year, I mean, if you use last year's Todd Bradley against this year's Chris Bubic, I think it could be a pretty close call, but to me, I do think it ultimately still comes down to, Bubic being the better pitcher. But I think Tampa Bay has a better bullpen. I think Taj Bradley can hold his own with the fastball, and you could see it here. Bubic's going to throw the Fastball and the slider. Fastball, Tampa Bay last 30 days hitting at the second best in the entire league. Top 5 against the slider as well. You can see here, all but a couple guys in their entire lineup, Jansen and Walls, no kidding, don't hit the fastball well. The slider, same exact thing. All but a couple guys don't hit the slider well. All very good against lefties in terms of OPS. They're batting better over the last 30 days against lefties. So this might be a nice little plus money look at Tampa Bay here, because we flip it over to the pitch mix of Taj Bradley, who's going to throw the fastball and the cutter as his main 2 pitches. And fastball and cutter, 15th and 27th in terms of runs above average. I will show you how to get access to the dashboard after we get through this game, so sit tight for a couple more seconds here. But yeah, I think this is going to be one where we did go back and forth, but ultimately align and end up on taking a peek at Tampa Bay for plus 123 right now. Like, I don't mind that whatsoever, right? So yeah, that's going to be a look. That also, much like we just talked about the player prop, probably something that we involve a lower unit play, because we are getting a starting pitching disadvantage, which is pretty tough to usually take a team when that is the case. But I think you have the offensive advantage here, as well as a bullpen advantage, and potentially a pitching spot that advantage kind of shrinks a little bit. So yeah, it's going to be Tampa Bay for me. In terms of a total, I don't mind the idea of this being like a 5-3 game or 4-3, something like that. As good as, I think this Tampa Bay lineup could hit Bubic, I don't sit here and think that he's going to get shelled. You know what I mean? So I do still think this could be somewhat of a low-scoring game. So if this was 9, I'd be liking it, because I think you have like a 5-4 potential, which is a high-scoring game, but it'd be pushed. I'm still going to lean to the under, though. But Tampa Bay has a chance of being a final play, as crazy as that might seem. All right, we can go quickly through this one here. Milwaukee, I do think, gets their get back. They have Freddie P on the mound going up against Andrew Heaney. Andrew Heaney started to, I guess you could say, not look like he did at the beginning of the year. And like I said, Freddie Peralta on the mound with a Brewers team that probably wants their get back. I'm going to lean towards the Brewers here. That total is pretty damn low. I like the Brewers to score a few runs today, so maybe a Brewers team total over is something I could interest myself in, especially if you can get it at like 3.5. And in fact, let me make sure that we can get that number right now. 3.5 for minus 165. That's asking a lot. But even here, over 4.5 would be what you'd have to get, right? For the Pirates today, over 3.5 is plus 125. So even with the runs total for the team scored runs, it's like, yeah, everyone's telling you the Brewers are probably the play, which I don't necessarily disagree with. Maybe a way to get to the Brewers some way, shape, or form is looking at Andrew Heaney, like under strikeouts, over hits, maybe over earned runs, something like that, where you can actually get some consumable odds for the Brewers. Minnesota, Seattle. This game was all Seattle yesterday. They win 11-2. They hit the over by themselves, right? Which is funny, because they kind of left Bailey Ober out there, right? He allowed 7 hits, I think 3 home runs. He pitched 7 innings. They just said, hey, just go get tortured, dude. Brian Wu pitched a decent game as well, right? What, he pitched 6 innings, I think? But either way, what do we do in this one? We have Chris Paddock on the mound against Luis Castillo. I would say that, the Twins, if we were able to get plus money behind them, I kind of like the spot against Luis Castillo. Even though I do like Castillo, I think that he's in a little bit of a spot here where this Twins team could hit the fastball pretty damn well. And that is going to be a pitch that this team does hit. So even though I said I would show you guys the dashboard and completely forgot, let's go ahead and get back to it, because I want to show you this really quick. So in the dashboard, you could see here, Peralta's going to throw a lot of fastballs, right? And he'll also throw a lot of sliders. Minnesota's not all that bad at hitting it. Whereas it comes to Paddock, he's going to throw the fastball. Seattle not tremendous at it. He's going to throw the changeup. Seattle not tremendous at it. Even the slider not tremendous at it, right? So obviously these are a couple spots where I think you can get a decent look at the Twins, again, if you're getting plus money, because that's kind of the edge that I'm looking for. Now, in terms of getting access to that dashboard, over on GuyBostonSports.com members area, you go to MLB dashboard. I'm not logged in, so this is most likely what you'll see right away as well, right? You head over here, view membership levels. We have 2 memberships available right now. The MLB dashboard alone, $4.99 per month. And if you want the all sports dashboard, now there's only one dashboard available right now, but we leave this up because if you get in at this price, and usually when we introduce new things and new dashboards, this price may go up a little bit, but if you get in at this price or any price whenever you sign up, and we up the price on any of these dashboard options, you don't change your price. Whatever you're locked in at and keep your subscription active at, active is the key word, you get that price. So yeah, if you do want to check it out, go ahead and head over there. Once you are logged in, I'll set this to a logged in version so we could see it. So now I'm logged in, clicked MLB dashboard. You can see the dashboard right here opens up. You can print it out. You can zoom in, download it, whatever you want. You have each and every game broken out in a visual format, from pitcher data to pitch mix to batting data, batting against certain pitches. We have player data down here. Bottom left is some bullpen information. Then we have some team trends. We have weather. This one's not showing because it's still loading. You have weather right there, chance of precipitation, temperature. We're working on getting wind in there as well. So guys, it's really, really cool. And what this is it's going to consolidate a bunch of different websites. I manual update like probably 50% of this. The rest we have on imports and whatnot. So really, really cool and powerful. It takes like 7 to 8 websites and puts it all in one place. So we can go through this and find some plays and find some edges a little bit easier. So consider heading over to GuyBostonSports.com, members area, consider becoming a member. In terms of a total here, I do think this could be another spot for an over. I don't like it as much as yesterday. Yesterday, that was one of the first plays that we threw down as a final play. But I do think Minnesota bounces back a little bit offensively. And, Seattle, if they can do anything what they did yesterday, then why not, right? Again, it's Chris Paddock on the other side of things. I don't mean to sit here and act like he's going to be a god today. I think Seattle could hit him as well. All right, White Sox taking on Arizona, one of our cashes from yesterday, and I think I might be going right back to it. Now, pitching for the White Sox looks like we have Jordan Leisure, and that is the opener. Tyler Alexander, most likely going to be the starter, the primary. This is just going to be another spot in which we're backing Arizona because I think they're the better team. They should be able to hit. Now, I think we have some weather in this ballpark today, but weather means, rain and whatnot. I think it's still going to be really hot and actually wind blowing out to left field and then center field. So to me, it's like, yeah, maybe a little bit of rain, but Diamondbacks should still be able to outscore this White Sox team. You have Ryan Nelson on the mound too, 1.8 ERA over his last 5 games here. He's looked pretty good, not so much on the road, but this is the White Sox. We have to remember, they're not exactly a world-beating team. He's going to throw a ton of fastballs. This is the 27th ranked fastball hitting team in terms of runs above average. So yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it smells a little bit like a trap. Maybe we're walking into it, but a lot of people said the Arizona spot yesterday was a trap and we cashed it. So for minus 130 odds, they're such a far better team. I really can't sit here and pass up on it. So are the Diamondbacks probably going to drop a spot because they came back from Colorado and now they're playing, Chicago, that type of thing? Maybe, but I'll take my chances on the odds. Today might be the loser, though. Feel free to fade. In terms of total, again, we talked about the weather. This total is sitting at 9, so it's not like we can sit here and be like, oh, there's no way runs are going to be scored. The books are throwing a 9 out there. I like an Arizona team total over. I don't necessarily know if I like the White Sox team total over. I mean, yesterday, they scored, 0 runs? Before that, they kind of were hitting well, but we might just see the White Sox, transitioning back to what the White Sox are. One of the hottest teams in ball right now, St. Louis, taking on Chicago, one of the most, I guess you could say mediocre. I think they're like 5-5 over the last 10, something like that. It is Taillon versus McGreevy here today. We do have, I would say a starting pitching advantage on that side of things, right? Even though McGreevy has been pretty good in how many starts does he have under his belt? A couple this year, right? Let's see, let's pull that up and then I'll have it factually for you guys before I start talking on my ass. Was correct. 2 starts under his belt so far. He looked good in the last one. It was against the White Sox. The other one he didn't look all that great in. It was against the freaking Dodgers. So what are you going to do with that, right? He did pitch 5 innings against the Mets, but even that was kind of when the Mets were raking. He looked really, really good. So I guess we have, like I said, a chance of, McGreevy being pretty damn good. He's only 24. But I think Taillon's been pretty solid this year. His last start against Milwaukee, he kind of got hit up. But who's to say this guy doesn't, come back and isn't able to kind of bounce right back, right? So I do think that you have decent odds on the Cubs side of things. From a bullpen perspective, I'd give them a little bit of an edge. But man, oh man, when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit because this is a team that definitely has some bullpen, I guess you could say, concerns. Like they'll be really good and then all of a sudden just shrivel at the biggest of moments. I like I said, I like the Cubs in this spot here. I don't think St. Louis puts up another 8, but they are the hottest team in baseball. If you like them for the price you're getting them at, I don't want to sit here and tell you that you're an idiot. You know what I mean? I just think that Taillon versus McGreevy should be a nice spot for the Cubs. The Cubs, the only thing that they've really been struggling against ultimately are these like flamethrowers, right? And McGreevy's only going to throw the fastball like 20-something% of the time, like not even all that much. So if he goes sinker, if he goes slider, I think this Cubs team is going to be able to hold their own and kind of come at them. So, yeah, give me the Cubs on the money line. The Cubs have burned us a couple times recently, but yesterday, we had the over in this game, and St. Louis did most of the work, but the Cubs did a little bit, right? So, at least we have that going for us. In terms of a total, I like the under today. I think that McGreevy should at least be able to do something capable enough, right? And then this is a Jameson Taillon who I believe could, like I've been saying, have a good game ultimately. So, yeah, I'm going to lean towards the under, but I think I like the Cubs a little bit more. Houston taking on Philadelphia. You can even see via our dashboard big discrepancy here. And that's why I like this dashboard, because without even really seeing all the numbers and whatnot, you can just look at the color coding and boom, what jumps out at you? Left-handed pitchers last 30 days for Houston. Number 1 in average, number 1 WRC+, OPS, OPS on base percentage, ISO, and slugging, all number 1, and they're hitting the second most fly balls in the league as well over the last 30 against lefties. So, yeah, this is probably a spot in which, Houston is heavily favored for a reason. It's Ranger Suarez versus Framber Valdez. Phillies kind of struggled with lefties lately. I understand completely why the odds are where they are. I don't think I get there myself. I'll be completely honest about that, but I do think, and with some of the lineup that the Phillies are trying out, I do think for the plus money behind the Phillies might be where we see this. Like, this is still a lineup that has some pop in it. Ranger Suarez has been very good, even though this is a Houston team that looks like they're just absolutely primed to get to him. You know what I mean? So for the price, I like the Phillies. That does not mean that I'm sitting here thinking that, this is an absolute hammer spot of them or anything. No, I just think this is a little bit more 50-50. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And if we can get plus 130 on one side of things, that makes a little bit more sense to me because it's a 50-50 kind of toss-up. So give me the Phillies. I like a first 5 under. I don't really think that we have, because again, I think Ranger Suarez is going to keep this one close enough, even though the Houston team has great numbers against lefties. I don't think we have anything that's like fair enough. You know what I mean? The total's at 7 right now. I think I've seen a couple 7.5s out there, which might help us. But let's see, 4.5 for an under is minus 165. For the pop of Houston and the pop of the Phillies, that seems a little bit too pricey to me. So I guess it'd be Phillies or nothing for me in this one. But I think it might be nothing because obviously I see why the Houston Astros are what they are in terms of, odds and price. All right, quick one here because I don't think we're going to end up having anything final on this one, but, we'll talk about it. Colorado with German Marquez on the mound going up against the Dodgers' Rabelski. Dodgers now in Coors, obviously one of the best offenses in baseball. No reason to think that they might not be able to go out there and put up a million runs, right? German Marquez has been a little bit better. I guess we can give him that. But last time you saw this Dodgers team, it was in LA. 2/3 of an innings pitched, 2 home runs, 7 earned, 1 strikeout, 1 walk on 6 hits. Not even a full innings pitch. So what are we supposed to sit here and think? That he's going to go out there and be a changed man even though he's pitching a little bit better? I don't think so. So maybe Dodgers team total over, but you're going to have to get a pretty high number for that, right? So I'll go Dodgers or the team total over, but that's all. Maybe parlay pieces in this one, but nothing much. All right, Angels taking on the Red Sox. Similar to that Tarek Skubal play, I kind of like the idea of Garrett Crochet pitching really well against this Angels team. The Angels yesterday absolutely went off. Had to watch that game live as a Red Sox fan being like, what are we doing here, right? They ended up winning the game. I think it was, 9-5? But ultimately, they scored like 7 in the first inning. Was it 7? I think they scored 5 in the first inning and then 4 in the 8th inning or something. So that would be their 9, right? But either way, that was Walker Buehler, and that guy stinks. This is Garrett Crochet, who's a little bit better, I would say, and even using our dashboard. Check this out. This is why I do really like Garrett Crochet today. Obviously, it's Garrett Crochet. On the road, he's been phenomenal, actually better than at home, right? But this is what I'm really looking at here. This cutter, what I would consider his best pitch. Obviously, he's a fastball thrower, but the cutter being his best pitch, look at that beautiful piece of work right there. LA against the cutter last 30 days, dead last in the entire league in terms of hitting it. So I like, much like I mentioned that Tariq Skubal play, LA first 3 innings under 0.5. I think you can get the 1.5 for some serious juice, but minus 110, minus 105 for that under 0.5. Garrett Crochet one time through the lineup. Let's see what you got here, right? I think this is a decent spot for him. Now, ultimately, it is a little bit risky because Crochet's had some starts where he kind of gets off to a shaky start, recently and whatnot. But again, I don't think this is one of those spots, and it's not me being a Red Sox homer. This is literally me seeing that cutter, knowing that Garrett Crochet cutter is filthy, and the Angels can't hit the cutter. So we should be able to get some guys out, get them out of situations. The problem with this, because I almost considered Crochet's under in earned runs, that might be a little bit smarter, maybe a little bit safer if you guys like it. The problem with this is that this is team total, so it doesn't matter if it's going to be, an earned run or not. Crochet has an infield behind him that's like making, I don't know, 1 to 2 errors per game. So that worries me per game. Yeah, so that worries me a little bit that he could have a run come in because of an error. But to me, I still think Crochet should have a decent game. His under 1.5 earned runs. I have a feeling if he gets under, 2 earned runs, then that first 3 innings looked okay. So that's kind of what we're putting our money on here. I don't mind the Red Sox today because Crochet is on their back, but obviously they're super, super juiced, and that offense is very inconsistent. But they're starting to come around the mound when they come, right? So give me the Red Sox and their team total over. But I think Crochet in that first 3 under is going to be the move that we look at. All right, hopefully someone listened to me about this game last night because we literally picked this apart like you read about, and we didn't do anything ourselves on it, right? We said that we think Mitchell Parker kind of has an edge over Kolek. Washington should get to Kolek and score a bunch of runs, but San Diego ends up scoring some of their own, so we were all over this one. But we didn't play it ourselves. We had Washington sitting in front of us at plus 160, and we said, we like that side. Didn't have the cojones to pull it. So maybe some of you guys did. Let me know in the comments if you were on Washington last night, because I think that was a ballsy play. Today, I think it's a little bit different. Trevor Williams going up against Ryan Berger. This kid's been pretty good. He has the one bad start was against Arizona, but even the Dodgers, almost 5 innings pitched, 0 earned. So I give him a little bit of credit, right? I still think that this is too big of a price tag to pull the trigger on San Diego, but today's a little bit different than yesterday. Now they're going up against Trevor Williams, who isn't all that great. He's also a righty. San Diego's far better against righties than they are lefties. So, yeah, I can get behind the San Diego train today, maybe as some sort of a parlay piece. But again, it's too big of a price to realistically like this that much. In terms of a total, I mean, Berger, maybe he's due for a little bit of regression or something like that, so maybe we take a peek at an over. If this is 8.5, I'd be considering it. At 9, I think this one ends almost at 9, so it'd be a push potential in terms of where I have this pegged. So, yeah, it's probably ultimately a pass, but I don't mind the idea of San Diego if you can get good odds. But if you like the price with Washington, I'm really not trying to stand in your way today. All right, Giants, Miami. Someone's got to tell me if I'm crazy for this one. I like the first 5 under 4.5, minus 110. We have Justin Verlander on the mound going up against Cal Quantrill. Do I think either one of these pitchers are going to be all set in terms of being all that great? Probably not. Even Verlander in his first start back after missing, a month, 3 earned through 4 2/3. That was against the Guardians, who aren't even that good of an offense right now. Cal Quantrill has been kind of the definition of mediocre. So why do we like this? Well, Quantrill's got a pretty hefty pitch mix, which I do like there. So hopefully he can figure something out because the San Francisco offense against righties has not been cruising. Verlander on the other side of things, fastball-slider combo, and look at this. Fastball should check out against Miami. Slider should check out against Miami. So that's why I like Verlander in this spot. Do I worry about the ball kind of traveling here? Sure, but actually it's not going to be all that warm there in San Fran. I believe it's a little bit of a cold front, 50 degrees. There is strong wind blowing out, so take that for what it's worth, but it's going to be pretty damn cold. So yeah, I like the first 500. I don't mind the under, and I think it would be San Francisco if you can get somewhat of, decent odds behind them. That's the only thing that I could look at because I trust that slider fastball combo from Verlander. Obviously, it's been a guy that's pitched that his entire career, but, to me, it's just not worth taking a shot at Miami. So, yeah, I like San Fran, but I like that first 500. Someone's got to tell me I'm crazy because I'm sure there's going to be some people in the comments that do. But, guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, comment 33 down below. Shout out Larry Bird. And, really do appreciate you tuning in, even though we have some longer videos. It's a full slate. We go through it as well as we can, but you guys are the absolute best. Really do appreciate it. Check out Novig. Check out our dashboard. All of these things will help you in the long run. I truly believe that. So go check it out, guys. And we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.